Right then, well, you can see where I am at. One of my most favorite places in the world. Uh, got home a couple hours ago. 4:30, 5 o'clock, somewhere in there. So I got I got my 8 hours in. So, but that's because Billy put the refrigerator call I did yesterday. Um, it crashed. It never cooled, and so I had to go back there. And sure enough, since I'm not a narcissist and I can admit my mistakes, I had a high pressure side leak. Well, that I didn't see when I was there before. Not only that, I think there was a restriction, there was a blockage in that particular tube, and the refrigerant couldn't flow. Compressor sounded funny. Literally no cool in the refrigerator. The compressor wasn't hot, but when I opened up the process stubs and took the Schrader valves out, there was a lot of pressure on that high side, probably 200 psi. All the butane came flying out. Now, that's not harmful to the environment. You don't want to breathe it in high quantities, but concentrated amounts. But yeah, there was a lot of pressure there, and I was like, So I think I accidentally soldered or brazed that particular small little pipe, which was about the diameter of this golf tee. I think I blocked it, and the coolant couldn't circulate. So not only did I have a weld joint leak at that spot, but I think it was plugged. So I nipped it out and redid it, and repressurized the system with nitrogen, soap checked everything, no bubbles, recharged the system, and it sounded like a whole different creature. There was a lot of gurgling and snapping and popping going on. I put my digital thermometer system in the freezer, and before, that freezer was holding at around 45 degrees. It dropped down to 32 in 5 minutes. Yep, she's working. So that was a victory, but that made the day. Otherwise, I'd have probably been done around 2, 3 o'clock, somewhere in there. So that made it a full day. So anyway, on the way home, I thinking about what to make for dinner. So I pulled out a big fat pork steak. I got that thawing in the filthy hot sink water, and I'm gonna make that for dinner here. But it's 7:30, going at 8 o'clock. This lake is glass. Look at this. Wow. No fish activity though. We just had a major cold front come in. Conditions are perfect for fishermen to sit out in the boat and fish. But the cat is in there wrecking something. But the conditions are not good for fishing. So I'm staying on land. I stopped at Menards on the way home and I got a jug of that rock glue. $32 for 1 gallon. And that's what I'm going to spray on the gravel on the driveway, on the apron, approaching the house, to prevent it from washing out in the rain. Well, I had grand intentions to go out and do that, and then I looked at the driveway and I'm like, number one, it's all covered in pine needles and pine cones and pine fluff. And number two, there's a lot of weeds starting to grow in that driveway. So first thing I did was fire up the leaf blower. That didn't want to start right away, but I got it running. And I blew all the pine needles, pine dander, pine cones, sticks, all that leaves, all that shit off the gravel. And then I dug out my 2-gallon pump sprayer and I mixed up a wicked strong batch of weed killer. And I went out and I literally painted the driveway. The thing I like about this gravel in my driveway here is when you spray it, it gets wet and it shows exactly where you sprayed. So at first I started walking around and spot treating each plant, and I realized in short order, no, this I'm missing shit. This ain't working so well. So the weed killer I'm using is called Ortho Ground Kill. I'm eventually going to switch over to vinegar and salt and you know, the natural thing. But right now I have Ortho Ground Clear, and that kills everything, and it lasts for a year. So it leaves a residual down on the surface that you spray it on, and it prevents new seeds from entering into the soil and germinating. Weed seeds, grass seeds, whatever. Basically sterilizes the soil, so in a good way for no growth of weeds. So I literally went out and painted the driveway, the whole driveway. Now I'm about halfway up the driveway. I went through 4 gallons of product, so I should be able to finish it with another 4 gallons. But my concern is getting that rock glue sprayed on the driveway to stop the erosion problem, to lock in all the sand and the rocks and the dirt so that it doesn't wash out on that concrete apron in front of the house all the time. Then I got to get out a shovel, scoop it all back up and put it all back. Yeah, F that. So half the driveway has been treated with weed killer to get rid of all the weeds. I'm not going to put glue over the top of weeds or over the top of pine needles. No. So one step at a time. Oh, here comes some sandhill cranes. If my dad was here right now, he'd be loving this. Except for the fact there's people up here. 2 cabins over, they're up here. There's a lady and her friend over next door here at Tim and Christina's place. They must be renting it for the week. Probably carpet munchers. I digress. So phase 1 of the project is done. Got all the pine needles and pine dander off and killed or applied weed killer to the weeds halfway up the driveway. Yeah. I'll do the other half tomorrow because I'm getting hungry and it's time for dinner. And Butterball there is starting to yowl and run around and be a hellion. Little fat furry shit show. All right, well, let's go make dinner. Talk to you soon.